It's the calendar's longest day of the year, which means 100 minutes and shots of beer. But if you think cunt is a verbal affront, of McMurray you'll definitely want to steer clear.
That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Thirsty Thursday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the Produce Stand, a podcast paying tribute to the great Canadian show Letterkenny. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other podcasts about Letterkenny out there, but this one will say the word cunts 12 times in this episode alone. Make that 13. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room, as always, is the lovely Tanya. And online, we have Squirrely Matt, the villainous Victor, and joining us this week, making his third appearance at the Produce Stand, hailing from Southern Michigan, he's the owner and proprietor of DJ Funko Pop Culture Collectible Vinyl Figures. He's the voice of God and a man of many layers. Make some noise for Delicious Dennis Vicious.
Wondrous. Wondrous.
I got too many things to do.
Oh my god.
Wait. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I needed to get the delay in there, but then I forgot to go hit the other
Fuck
thing.
that one up.
Welcome back. What?
You only have 10 simultaneous jobs out.
Yeah, that's it. I only have two
done
arms.
this over here.
Well, yeah. Anyway, next
There you
time.
I'm
Pretty
so
sure you
glad.
said DJ's custom pop.
Did I? I didn't mean to. Anyway, Dennis, welcome back to the Produce Stand. Thanks for coming back, bud.
It's me. It's GDV, the man with the hands, the man with the plan, here to lay the smackdown on the produce stand. Let's grab 100 shots of beer and have a little fun. Let's get the party started. You want to talk about cunt?
Wondrous.
I love it.
Oh, I love when you come prepared.
Oh man! And Dennis, you are repping the Produce Stand T-shirt. That's the black with the white logo. Very well. Very nice. Very nice.
Nice.
Now, I mean, this is your third time here. You're here because you are a supporter, you are a past sponsor, and we love having you here. And you're also a man of many layers. And so tonight we're going to talk about another one of those layers. Let's talk about security for the stars, shall we? Do you have any?
Now, I'll preface this by saying that due to NDAs and professional courtesy, I have to be purposefully effusive about certain details. But
just tell us whatever you can tell us. Just a couple of details.
I guess it depends on what you'd like to know.
I mean, can you name any names, or is that the part that you can't?
In some instances, I would rather not.
Okay, what was?
Let's not get the man in trouble.
No, I know we don't want to get you in trouble. So why don't you give us without naming names, maybe one of the most outrageous things that has happened, like when you were. Well, first of all, your security for like stars. What kind of stars? Like actors, musicians? What?
Yeah, a lot of musicians, actors, athletes. Because we worked primarily with Illich Properties, who they own Little Caesars.
Oh yeah, Illich.
The Olympia Entertainment. So if somebody was going to the Motor City Casino and they needed an escort, pick people up from the airport, and I would take them to venues, and I would be their basically personal entourage while they were going to a show or going to a Tigers game or that kind of thing.
Amazing. Now.
Were you ever starstruck with anybody? Like, were you ever tongue-tied? Like, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you.
I know that it's happened, and there's only been a couple of instances that I'm going blank right now.
Maybe when Hulk Hogan was.
It was usually. It was usually.
Oh yeah,
job.
There were times when I was doing security for one person, and they were with someone that was far more famous than they were in my eyes.
Oh yeah.
There was like one time I was working with Jason Momoa. I had no idea he was dating Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show.
Oh yeah, aren't they married?
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. So, because I was going to bring this up as a funny thing, because I've seen that picture online of Jason Momoa with his bodyguards, and he's like towering over
the meme saying, "Why is this a thing? Like, why does he need this?"
Yeah. So I was going to make the joke. Have you ever been Jason Momoa's bodyguard? But you have been.
Oh yeah. But it's one of those things. Sometimes you're part of the entourage, or I'm the sorry, no photos, or no autographs guy. I have to be the a-hole because they don't, the celebrity doesn't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
But, I've worked with some, all right, super famous dude, well known for a movie, and somebody calls out some catchphrase from the movie and they just roll their eyes and are like,
right.
I hear it all day long.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, if
everybody thinks they're the first, but I've been around people that are super sweet that people are just awful to. There was one time I was working with Taylor Swift, and we were walking through the like the catacombs of a parking garage, and somebody just yelled out, "Drink bleach, bitch!"
Wow,
wow,
that's dark.
And I'm like, I looked at her, and she gave me the yep. Long.
That's amazing.
It's crazy that people.
Yeah.
Dude,
are like
are you really surprised though? I mean, there's some fucked up people out there, and especially the internet warriors and all kind of like. I'm not surprised, and I bet you they just get. I mean, it probably never feels good, but they get used to it. Like you just let it roll off after a time.
Yeah, it's just Twitter on the live tour. That's all.
Right? Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned not fitting in because there have been times I've been kicked out of people's entourages too, where I won't name her, but there was a female R&B singer who looked at me and looked at the management and goes, "You ain't gonna fit in, homie." And I was like, well,
right,
you have a point.
Yeah.
She goes, "This is Detroit. You don't have any brothers?" And I was like, well, I can't.
That's amazing.
That's so good.
You, sir, are truly an onion. So I mean, when we have you on next time, what are we going to talk about? What else do you have to spring on us?
Well, it's funny that I would play with people, and I'd say, I'm going to name 5 jobs, and you guess which one I haven't done.
Right.
I love
and people are always wrong, but it's just because of the myriad crazy things that I've done just as an experience. You know what I mean? If somebody says, "Hey, do you want to be a rodeo clown?" I'd be like, "You damn right." Like, I'll just jump in. I don't care.
So do you have those 5 jobs on the tip of your tongue right now that you can rhyme off?
I just wasted one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So hold on. You were a rodeo clown? All right, that's what we're going to talk about next time you're on. Holy crap, a rodeo clown. That's amazing.
These are only some of the layers, folks, that we talked about offline.
Oh, geez. All right, here we go.
How are you now?
Tonight's lineup is going to be Matt, Tanya, Al, Victor, and our guest, Dennis, gets the last word. Matt, how's your week?
It's been a great week.
Oh. Is that a question? Or?
Oh, no. It's been a great week. It's been a great week. Running like a champ. So that's been feeling good. Work, been absolutely crushing that. That's feeling good. And today I became an uncle again.
Hey,
so
congrats.
Thanks. Yeah. My younger brother, the guy who's doing the ride for cancer later this year. He had his first child born today around 6:00.
Wow.
Little Isabel, and we're all pretty excited. It's been, I know they've been pretty excited for, the last 9 months, I guess. And today was the culmination of that. Mom and baby are healthy as can be, and the family's pretty ecstatic. So it's the first grandchild on her side of the family. Like I've got 3. This is his first. My other brother's got 2 kids. So my parents, they've got a lot of grandkids. But this is the first on her side, so her family's losing their damn minds. But it's all for good reason. So it's been, I'm going to say it's been a great week.
Well, yeah. I mean, that sounds like the perfect week. Awesome. Tanya, how was your week?
Congratulations to your
Thank
mother
you.
for sure. First off, super happy that you didn't introduce me by using cunt before or after my name.
That would have been a risky game.
Because when you were like, 13 are going to be used, I'm like, and is he going to pull the trigger? Because I'm right within hitting distance. I was like, okay. Week's been good, busy. Work's been challenging. And I've had a work issue that I've been dealing with for quite a while now. And I feel like today I finally got some another way to look at things, some perspective on it, which has made the issue a little bit easier to deal with. So quite grateful that I have a new outlook and perspective to deal with everything that's going on. And so it's going to end off on a good note, I think.
My week, let's see. Other than that horrible, embarrassing loss that I'm sure Victor's going to talk about of our beloved Maple Leafs.
Maybe that's why the train wreck's on there.
No, I know why the train wreck's on there. Or I feel like I know why the train wreck's on there. Anyway, so that aside, and that's very disappointing and depressing. It's been a good week. Work's been great. This weekend that we went to Friday Harbor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went for a walk at this place called Friday Harbor, which is like really nice, kind of like a marina, but also a boardwalk and lots of very rich people. We felt kind of out of place, but at the same time, it was just nice to get away and go for a drive and go for a walk and look around. It was pretty cool. Victor, how was your week?
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, it's kind of hard to say anything interesting after Dennis, but
I know it's so boring compared to.
We're all toning back today. We're like, well, we got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm like Matt. I'm still running every 2 days, so I'm really feeling good about that. Today, I was chased by a dog for about a couple of blocks, so that
motivation.
Was fun.
I would have videotaped that and laughed.
Yeah, I outran that dimwit, and at the end just ran into the road. I didn't even look back.
You're a cat person. I forgot.
Yeah.
They know.
No, I'm an animal person, but in terms of who I choose to live with, it would be a cat over a dog. But I love all animals, including that stupid dimwit of a dog. You got to laugh. But so not much else to report. Just having a good week and
settling into the new gig. Everything's good there.
Yeah, I mean it's nuts. Now it's like we got to have a couple of beers and I have stories that aren't really for the podcast,
right?
But yeah, it's nuts. But I'm enjoying it. But it's like running into a fire.
Right. Yeah.
Running into.
Yeah.
Mr. Guggen, last time you were on, you had just had like a car accident and stuff.
Really?
How are you feeling? You're
that was fun.
fully
now.
Yeah.
I keep checking to see if there are any lingering effects, but I seem to be all right.
How's your week, or how's your time since the last time we spoke?
Just been working a lot, but I threw together a couple of figures in the meantime. The 30th anniversary of Drop Dead Fred just passed, so I made a Rick Mayall as Drop Dead Fred.
I saw you posted that. That thing's great.
Nice.
Eddie Van Halen and Frankenstrat overalls.
Victor wants that one.
Goodness. Our listeners are missing out right now.
Another favorite is Randy Rhoads. Ozzy Osbourne's a guitarist.
Very nice.
Ozzy Osbourne was his singer. Let me correct you. Yeah.
Everyone listening, picture all these as Funko Pop dolls, and you've got it.
I should probably let you guys know I'm actually recording this one today, so maybe I can post some screen grabs at least of those figures. Don't worry, I'm not going to post the video. It's just redundancy.
I mean, I can send you independent shots too, but one of the more interesting ones that I got was a dude reached out to me that I'd made a figure for before, and he's like, "My husband is super into buses." And he goes, "I know that's weird, but it's like every year I commission like a work of art based on like a school bus or something like that." And he made a superhero, and I put this together. So the hat is like like an old school bus driver.
Yeah. Oh my god! So you made a superhero bus driver?
It's like the Six Village people.
The shoulder armor, and the bus grill is his armor in the front, and he's got a steering wheel as a throwing projectile.
Oh boy,
that's so good.
He's also obsessed with Wonder Woman, so I gave him a Star Spangled Cape, and this is another version of the same character that I came up with.
I love it.
Okay, Victor, what are you holding up? You're holding up a
it's bus simulator.
It's a TTC. It's not. I know it's phallic, but it's not a penis. It's a TTC bus.
I see that. That's pretty nice.
Bank.
Oh man, so Tanya, I know you just woke up. Do you need a coffee?
Yes.
Victor, do you need a coffee?
I'd have a coffee.
Matt, would you like a coffee?
Oh man, I'm surprised we're not having coffee right now.
Great, because as you know, Diabolical Coffee is now being served at the produce stand. It's devilishly good coffee and diabolically awesome swag. There's a roast for all tastes and even some you didn't know you wanted. You can order whole bean, coarse, and standard grind and espresso, or if you're like Tanya and me, there's a K-Cup option for single cup brewers. And for the duration of season 6 of our podcast, you can use the promo code Produce Stand for 10% off anything in the store. That's 10% off all coffee and merch. Thank you, Diabolical Coffee, for your support this season. I got my t-shirt in the mail already, and I modeled it and posted a picture of it. Still waiting for the coffee to arrive. I guess that takes a little longer to cross the border maybe, but looking forward to tasting some of that awesome, tasty coffee. And speaking of support, we have 13 new Twitter followers today. So, here they are. Polar Bear from Michigan. Dennis, do you know the Polar Bear? Matthew Sutherland. I wonder if he's any relation to Kiefer. Slow Drag with Remedy. Chris Mayer from Penticton, BC. Patty Guerra. Does it matter what I say? Travis Robinson, Mayhem from Ontario, Canada, The Binge Boys from some mega church in Georgia. Oh, we were just talking about Georgia. PJ McCarthy from Malvern, Pennsylvania, Dylan Bates, Jenny Lynn from Warren, Michigan, another Michigander, and Justin Trollinger from Fairfax County, Virginia. Thank you all for following and for hopefully listening. Here we go.
Well, don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Last week, we recapped and reviewed episode 4 of season 6, Dicks Slip Out, and that episode was a unicorn. Getting fresh ratings from everyone on the panel, including our guest Joshua. According to our scientific Twitter poll, you all agreed that it was a fresh episode, giving it 100% of your votes. This week, we recap and review episode 5 of season 6, Different Strokes for Different Folks. Matt, have you done your homework?
I did.
Tanya, have you done your homework?
Yes.
I did my homework. Victor, have you done your homework?
I have.
Dennis, have you done your homework?
Studying hard, boss.
Of course you did. Here we go. We start with a cold open. The Hicks are at the produce stand talking about terrestrial radio. Squirrely Dan wonders who listens to terrestrial radio anymore.
You ceased mingling with the peasants then, hey, Dan?
Internet radio, satellite radios, and podcasts are just far more popular these days.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
Stern.
Stern's fucking sexy.
Most people just don't listen to the terrestrials radio. Internet radios and satellite radios have become far superior.
So if Howard Stern's type of radio is better than terrestrial radio, would Howard Stern's type be extraterrestrial?
Extraterrestrial. Fuck you, Terry.
Katie goes on to talk about an artist she heard on terrestrial radio who she hasn't heard from in a long time, but she low-key loves, DMX. Wayne likes him too because he's obviously an animal lover on account of him always barking like a dog in his songs. That's why Katie low-key loves him too. He always sounds so tough when he goes arf arf. Wayne makes fun of Katie's attempt at barking, but Derry's attempt is even more pathetic.
I see. So, arf, arf.
The fuck was that?
What's the problem?
If DMX was here right now, he'd hoof you right in the nuts.
I think DMX would assume Derry had already been hoofed in the nuts.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just make a cat sound at the end of a tough guy line.
Well, how'd that go, Katie?
Meow.
No, but put some threatening rap music lyrics in front of it like DMX would.
Okay. I'm click-clacking and rack-stacking. Bitches know I'm packing. I'm the trillist. Meow.
See?
I see. It's not the same thing.
Nope. No animal sound would have the same effect as a dog barking if you're trying to sound tough with rap music lyrics. Not one.
Squirrely Dan isn't sure he agrees with Wayne.
Okay, Dan? Dan, okay. Okay, Dan? Let's put it to the test. It's the jump off. Rocking in my Timbs. I'm the greatest. Get shook. Meh.
Nope.
The others each take turns rapping and punctuating with animal sounds. First, it's Katie, who quacks like a duck. Derry crows like a rooster. Back to Wayne, who moos like a cow. Squirrely Dan gets the point, but they continue back to Katie, who bleats like a sheep, and Derry, who caws like a crow. This goes on for a while. Squirrely Dan gets increasingly annoyed.
So you see, Dan? No animal sound is as tough as a dog sound.
I'm the king of the jungle, bitch. Bow down. Rah!
You're pretty sure that was a lie and he was attempting there, so you stand corrected.
And we cut to the theme. All right. Matt, you're first on this one. What do you think of this cold open?
There was some good stuff here. Definitely wasn't my favorite by a long shot, but there was some good stuff. I mean, so first off, I got to say, I you feel like you learn something new every day. I learned something new today. Terrestrial radio. I didn't even know that was a term.
Oh, no.
Never heard that. It took me a second to catch up to what the fuck they were talking about there. Then I did, and I'm like, all right, I get it now. But never heard that terminology. So I learned something new, so I felt good about that. The fuck you dairy made me laugh really hard because we all have had those moments where someone says something stupid and you humor them for a moment and then fuck them. And let's give a quick shout out to DMX there because that's really relevant and recent. And
yes, rest his soul.
Rest his soul. I definitely was a DMX fan in my youth, and that was a big shock to the system recently in his passing. But it was a good little memory of him there in this episode, and the whole banter back and forth was good. But I've talked about before how sometimes it goes far, and then the laughter kind of rises and falls a bit. And under this one, I thought it dragged on a little much. Of course, Dan's recovery at the end with the line was fantastic.
Tanya, what'd you think?
Yeah, this one went on really, really, really long. Like, really.
Until the next episode.
It was definitely not my favorite cold open. It was not. I'm not a huge fan of this one for sure.
All right. So I got to say, I did not like this cold open. This is one of the weakest. This is one of my least favorite. I didn't relate to it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to go on Spotify to listen to DMX to see if I even knew any of his stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big hip hop fan or rap fan. So, I mean, once I heard him, like, oh, okay, yeah, and the dog barking and stuff like that. But so that aside, I didn't really relate to it. The only part that was kind of amusing and I feel like it was kind of a homage to what's his name, Family Guy, Seth, Family Guy. It was when they were laughing at Derry's joke, and Seth MacFarlane. That was a very Seth MacFarlane moment there when they're laughing and laughing and laughing, and then just kept on laughing. Then finally say "fuck you, Derry." It's like, wow, that's something that's ripped out of a Seth MacFarlane script. But other than that, this one here is probably one of my least favorite cold opens ever.
Wow.
I know. And that's saying a lot, I guess. I just couldn't relate to it. And it just went on for a while. Victor?
It was not good.
That's it.
I did not, with Matt, he's not here to defend himself. He stepped away, but, with the ebbs and flows that he talked about, there was no ebbs and flows. It was a flat line. There was no laughs at all. I mean, maybe there was a short giggle at the dairy joke, but that was like, that was just giggling at the whole, the McFarlane gimmick, right? But in terms of, I just didn't find any of it funny, and the DMX stuff, like I thought the lyrics were more ridiculous than the animal sounds. So I guess that was interesting. But I'm not new to rap or anything like that. It's just I appreciate hip hop and the music, but if you actually just listen to the lyrics, I mean that's, you could say that about rock music as well.
Yeah,
a lot of it is just mundane nonsense, and this was there's certainly some examples of that in this cold open.
I mean, it pains me to say because it is now the source of our new intro, which for sure, I kind of agree. Dennis, what do you think?
I thought it was a good premise. The execution may have not been great, but I wasn't sure if it was them honestly saying, you know what, I think a duck might be as tough as a dog, or if they were just putting the screws to Dan, which was working. But I didn't know why it had gone on so long, but I was pretty impressed. I wouldn't expect a lot of Canadian farmers to know that many hip-hop lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, like Kisos picks all the music for the show, and there's a good representation of hip hop right on on the show. So, it sounds like they're pretty, versed in it, but pardon the pun, I guess. I think, my hang up is probably just I'm not as familiar with DMX and so maybe it's just not as funny. But
I mean, it is one of those things where there are in hip hop songs, there are lyrics about, bitches and hoes and money and, crime and stuff like that. And then there, these ubiquitous sounds that really have nothing to do with the lyrics that are, kind of intermingled. But I actually have a contender if you want to hear it.
Go for it.
Like a big brown bear, I'm on the attack. Bust your guard open and watch you die. You can call me Kodiak.
I love it.
That's brilliant.
Oh, and Matt wasn't here to hear that. Sucks to be him. I don't know where he went. We've lost Matt. He walked away. I wonder if Moose got in.
If they were really trying to come up with something that was tougher than a dog, there are, plenty of options that they could have explored.
There are. They were just being silly about it, but it was just a little too silly and not funny enough for my liking. Anyway, we move on. Scene 1. The Hicks are in the farmhouse kitchen. Derry is talking to a Nick on the phone. He's being very needy.
Don't do that, bud.
What?
Ask your gal privately, but publicly, are you okay?
Well, he's just making sure.
Yeah, you don't want to get too needy with a gal like that, Derry.
A gal like what?
A gal who is, respectfully, super fucking hot.
She's Victoria's Secret's hot there, good buddies.
She's Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition hot, Derry.
Well, yeah, all the more reason to make sure she's okay.
Oh, don't say we didn't warn you.
I love Wayne's hesitation. He's about to say fucking, but then says one more super just to punctuate. Super hot. Anyway, Marie Fred joins them at the table. Wayne cocks her arm, and then we get to the episode's exposition.
How's the day? Longest day of the year.
Summer solstice.
And you know what that means?
Century Club!
Ah, Centurion, c'est cool ça? On y va?
100 shots of beer in 100 minutes will buckle you if you don't have a strategy.
Let me just call the girlfriend and make sure it's okay with the old ball et chain.
Put your phone down, Derry.
Fucking stomp on it. You try dating a French girl.
Yeah, give it a shot, bud.
Okay.
Today, on the summer solstice, we honor the time good old Uncle Eddie got the worst sunburn this side of Sasky, thus having to spend the longest day of the year inside drinking the bar down.
Well, I'm not carrying Dan home from the bar this time.
That was used?
Well, who's in?
The skids are sober, so they're out, and I don't know, I haven't heard from Riley and Jonesy.
McMurray's?
Yeah, they'll be there.
Wayne warns Marie Fred that she'll want to avoid McMurray today. In fact, he'll want to avoid McMurray anytime he's shit-faced, because when McMurray is shit-faced, things come out of him that are off-putting. Marie Fred asks for an example, but Wayne warns that this one is best left parked. Now, Katie's super curious, but Squirrely Dan suggests they let sleeping dogs lie. Marie Fred warns the guys that they're just driving Marie Fred and Katie straight to McMurray with how dodgy they're being. Marie Fred and Katie will find out about it anyway. Wayne gives them the scoop. When McMurray gets shit-faced, he retells stories of his boys' trips. Katie thinks it's pathetic that a married man still goes on boys' trips. Squirrely Dan says McMurray says the worst fucking things you've ever heard in your entire lives. This he promises them. McMurray says her brother was a hockey player and all her cousins were too. She grew up around boys, the worst kind. The girls insist. So Wayne and Derry reluctantly agree.
All right, if we're going in. We ain't stopping until the job's done.
God, I should have packed a lunch for this.
And final warning, this one is best left unpacked.
Once we start, you're going to want us to stop, but we're not going to stop.
Prove it.
You guys should do it in your McMurray's voice. Also, keeps your jaws clenched like he does when he's all shit-faced, for his effects.
Wayne and Derry lean in close to the girls.
Wayne, how would yous like to talk about cunt?
Hey, Derry, are you an ass man, a tits man, or a cunt man?
Hey, you ever fucked a couple tasties at the same time?
No, I fucked so many tasties.
They used to tell me, hey, you want to taste it?
They used to say, come on, big boy, why don't you have a little bit of a taste?
I go down to Vegas with about 17 buddies every single year, and you never seen so much cunt in your life.
Hard rock, rooftop, poolside villas. I've never seen so much cunt in my life. Anybody tells you they've seen more cunt than that's a liar.
I used to fuck so many tasties.
Oh, tabarnak.
Where is Mrs. McMurray in all of this?
We don't ask those kinds of questions.
The McMurray talk continues for another couple of rounds. Hashtags are desecrated, and with every use of the word cunt, Murray, Fred, and Katie startle and revolt. Squirrely Dan just sits there, head down, eyes closed. The girls are growing increasingly repulsed. When Wayne and Derry finally finish, Murray Fred hits Wayne in the arm and storms off. Squirrely Dan says he had it coming. Wayne says Murray Fred's a keeper. She returns, still grumbling about what she just heard, and scolds Katie. On cue, Derry leans forward so Katie can hit him as well.
But the McMurrays are part of the lifestyle. So don't they just do that kind of shit together?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they seem so in love.
Different strokes for different folks, Miss Katie's.
I don't think Mrs. McMurray knows about this.
It's none of our beeswax, Miss Katie.
And she oughta.
That's none of your beeswax, Miss Katie.
What are you trying to say to me right now?
I'm sorry, Miss Katie's.
Squirrely Dan.
Apples.
Yeah, Squirrely Dan grabs an apple and tries to change the subject. Scene 2, in the gym washroom, Riley and Jonesy and Ronnie and Dax give updates on the progress of their bet. They're almost at the finish line.
Speaking of finish, I smashed a Finnish Jordanian a few nights ago. Exquisite.
I smashed a Tongan Micmac just this morning.
I smashed a Catalan Cameroonian.
Yeah, I smashed a Swedish West Indian.
Good. Well, I smashed an interior Salish Thai Syrian.
This goes on for a while. It's the final day of competition, so they all go for a piss before they get back at it.
Ronzi? Daxie. Heard about any pee? Burns, buddy. Jonesy. Riley. Burns when I pee, buddy.
It was that Haitian Bangladesh.
What is that? Baja Desert Ukrainian. Had to have been that Northern Irish Maori tribesman.
It was that St. Lucian Sikh separatist. Fuck!
Scene number 3, the Hicks arrive at Modine's 3. Katie storms in, still bothered by the McMurray conversation. Glenn greets them, informs them that he'll be playing the role of Gail, the bartender, so that she may binge drink with them, which is technically a form of alcoholism. Derry's still on the phone with a Nick, which is annoying to the others. They warn him once again that he's going to fuck it up with a Nick with all this neediness. Meanwhile, Glenn notices Marie Fred.
Meanwhile, hello there. Who's this spicy little number, Wayne? She's like a little Kathy Deneuve or like a little Virgie Bardot.
Glenn, this is Mary Fred.
Enchante, Mary Fred. Jamapple, all fucking yours.
I know what you mean, Gail. She's like a Juliette Binoche, like a Marion Cotillard.
I'm here with Wayne.
Who?
Why?
I don't fucking know him.
Wait.
Well, I know you.
Not yet.
Soon.
Gem apple.
Just then, Bonnie McMurray makes her usual slow-mo entrance, dressed like a sexy referee. Apparently, she's officiating the event. Even more shocking is that this event requires an official. The rules are 100 shots of beer in 100 minutes. No pissing, no passing out, and especially no puking.
Oh, no puking, please. Ewy, ewy, gross, gross. It's a carpet in here.
Competition slim this year. The skids are sober. Riley and Jonesy called in sick, so you got a shot.
100 shots to be precise.
Damn. Well, I'd have a beer. Katie have a beer.
I need a beer.
Mary Fred have a beer.
I'd have a beer.
Dan have a beer.
I'd have a beer.
Derry have a beer.
You okay?
Fuck's sake.
That was Derry on the phone with who else? A Nick. Just then, in stumble the McMurrays already.
So just
Yeah.
wait. So why are we not calling it in this scene spitting?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I don't know. Because that's the joke from the last episode.
They carry other jokes.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
There you go.
Continuity issue.
maybe it's written in the rule books of the Century Club, and so they don't use spitting; they use proper language there because it's an official rule book. Just then, in stumble the McMurrays, already 3 sheets to the wind. Mrs. McMurray goes off to the bar to get some more cock-sucking gin from the bar. She takes Katie and Glenn with her, leaving the male skids with McMurray.
Well, now that the sit-down pissers are tramping off to the bar, you guys want to talk about cunt?
I love that he calls the women and Glenn the sit-down pissers.
Oh, I missed that.
Scene 4, back at the gym. Riley and Jonesy and Ron and Dax have antibiotics for their peeing issue. Ron and Dax are being very nonchalant about the whole thing. Riley and Jonesy are freaking out, calling it the end of days. Ron and Dax tell them to relax. At least it isn't the gift that keeps on giving, like herpes. Riley and Jonesy don't understand how they can be so calm about it.
This isn't your...
This is your first STD. Adorable. Wait. Oh, this isn't yours? No.
How many have you had?
That's a tough question.
I don't even know.
Oh my God, is that bad?
Oh my God, is it?
I'm more trying to think of a time when I didn't have one.
20? 30?
You're in the ballpark, I think. Oh my God.
Oh my God, you're terrible.
You're terrible.
How the fuck can you be so calm about this? This is the end of days! It's the end of days!
Riley and Jonesy crumple to the ground in agony.
They almost sound like the Skids in that scene, just listening back to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
They've learned a difficult lesson. When you compete to take down babes, no one wins. Scene 5, back at Modine's 3, the competition kicks off with a musical montage of the competitors taking their beer shots and Bonnie McMurray keeping time and score. Mrs. McMurray drinks gin between shots because, well, she's Mrs. McMurray. Everyone else is like hydrating with water. She's hydrating with gin. At the end of the competition, all competitors have made it to the end without breaking any of the rules, so everybody wins. Bonnie congratulates them all and tells them they're free to pee. Mrs. McMurray leaves. Katie and Marie Fred help Glenn clear the table. This leaves McMurray with the Hicks. He begins to tell them one of his graphic stories. Wayne wants to leave for a dart. Squirrely Dan's too drunk to move, and Derry wants to know how it ends. Katie's at the bar listening, and she's getting angry.
Now, this particular tasty was of the Australian variety.
Crikey.
Now, you may not know this, but down there, they like you to piss on them.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Actually, I'm told the dudes from down under do piss on gals. But I don't know what's in it for the gals.
I love the way Squirrely Dan says, no, they don't. We should have asked.
I was just going to say, are you going to ask Melbourne Jack?
Yeah, Melbourne Jack. Yeah. Next time I'm going to speak to him tomorrow. So I'll ask him tomorrow. Him and
whatever
his
you do, don't Google it, please.
Oh my gosh, no.
Let's see where is. Oh, here we go.
That's
McMurray finishes a story. Wayne leaves for a dart. Derry reaches for his cell phone to call Nick. Katie has had enough. She grabs Derry's phone, throws it to the ground, and stomps on it. Then she turns to McMurray to give him a piece of her mind, but is interrupted when Mrs. McMurray calls her over to the bar.
I got a question for you. Okay, you need to know that...
What are you doing? Last evening.
Why?
I'll tell you. Every spring, me and about 17 gal pals head down Cancun for a girls' weekend.
Okay.
Let me tell you something about spring break. The older cunt is there for the young cock, and the young cock is there for the older cunt.
This seems to make Katie forget the reason why she was angry. Scene 6. Final scene. The McMurrays are on the dance floor slow dancing. Gail pays Glenn and Bonnie. Bonnie offers to give Glenn a ride home. He's grateful and offers to sing her hymns to keep her alert and inspired. Bonnie turns him down. The Hicks watch the McMurrays dancing.
They look so in love.
Got every reason to believe they are, bud.
But they...
Miss Katie's?
What?
A wee bits earlier, I suggested, quite gently, that what the McMurrays do is nobody's business.
I remember
you shouting at me.
I'm sorry, Squirrely Dan.
That's okay, Miss Katie's. We are, none of us perfect. And that is what I appreciate.
Can I borrow somebody's phone to call Anik, please?
No. But what have we learned through all of this, Miss Katie?
Different strokes for different folks, I think.
I think you just nailed it.
Marie Fred walks onto the dance floor and motions for Wayne to join her. Wayne obliges and they start dancing. The camera zooms in on Wayne's face and he seems to come to some kind of realization. His eyes go wide and then we fade to black. And that's the episode. All right. Just want to remind everybody here that we are playing Guest Victor's MVP. So while we do ratings and stuff, listen intently and write down who you think Victor is going to make MVP.
Were there any animals in this one? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember.
Lots
there
of
was animal sounds.
Yeah, lots of animal sounds at the beginning.
Okay.
So we're going to start with just your initial thoughts. No ratings. Matt, what did you think of this episode?
It was fun. There's definitely some good moments. I gotta set the record straight on the 100 shots things. I've always wanted to do this. I've never actually done it. I've played many drinking games. This one, if anyone's curious, this is for bottles of beer. This is about 8 and a bit bottles of beer in under 2 hours. So, I mean, it's a good paced way of getting drunk. I've definitely consumed more than that on a good night. But under that time.
Yeah. And that speed. I mean, that's
pretty impressive. So, they're all walking out of there pretty good. And if they keep their drink going, they're going to have a pretty good chance of blackout kind of night. So it's a good way to kick off the day. And you see, that's why they keep going. So I enjoyed that. I would still do it. I feel like we should have done that on this episode together over the course. Just saying, it's something. We should start playing the games they do. We could do a separate recording and just do. Yeah. Just put it out there,
we're going to have to make sure that our kids are with some responsible adults if we're going to be doing something like that.
I guess that would be responsible.
I'll do water shots.
10. Sorry.
Oh, no. Yeah. I was saying, it was fun. I will say the Dax and Ron STD conversation was very uncomfortable.
And you don't use that word lightly.
No. It was hard to say, and that's not that. I mean, I'm sure, and people have been in that. So, but the numbers that they were talking were frightening and very disturbing, and I just had to look away.
Are you drinking tea?
Kentucky tea.
Oh, okay.
Is it coffee?
What? That's not coffee.
Drinking coffee.
No, what is
Diabolical coffee, right?
Diabolical coffee.
If Diabolical coffee looked like that,
I'm surprised we're not having coffee right now.
That's not part of the read. It just looked like you're drinking tea.
No, it's a Coors.
Oh, all right. Oh, that's why it's watery. Anyway,
as long as it's not pee, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. Tanya, your initial thoughts?
Yeah. You know what? I had a flashback. That whole pee thing and oh boy. That whole pee thing and it burns when I pee or whatever. I had a flashback back to high school when a girl came up to me and's like, I think I have a problem. It burns when I pee. And I remember her whispering it to me and I'm like, oh, you've got a problem. Yeah, for sure. Because I knew what she had done previous to that. So anyways, I was always the person that knew the answers and I was never embarrassed to ask questions. So I put her in touch with
school nurse.
The health guidance people. Anyways, I remembered back to that. And yeah, same thing. The whole sex for sport and the takedowns and the counts and Riley and Jonesy and Ronnie and Dax. Like, I like the Betty Ann and Mary Ann banters so much better. It was uncomfortable. I don't really get that whole kind of sex for sport and takedowns and the counts. I don't understand that kind of behavior, but the whole STDs, it was just an uncomfortable thing. And also with the drinking for sport, doing 100 shots, like I don't, I'm not very comfortable with that much either. I don't really understand the whole alcohol consumption for sport.
Come on, you played
straight up. It's fun.
You had fun playing beer pong. Come on,
flip cup.
Yeah, like okay.
And you have to put. I think the disconnect here is that you did enjoy it. You had lots of fun when you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
What you're struggling with is seeing grown ass adults still doing it. That's all.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too long ago when Al and I had went to a Christmas party. Oh my God, I guess that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
And people were taking shots off of a surfboard. No, that surfboard.
Oh, that party. No, that was only 2 or 3 years ago. That's not too bad. Yeah.
And there were like, yummy gummies and stuff.
All right. So there's some fun in you, Tanya.
There's some fun in you.
Yeah, when she lets her hair down, she can be fun, Tanya.
Like you're making it sound like you're a prude. Like,
I'm not a prude.
Our kids have sucked the fun out of her.
Oh my
From now on, your hair has to be down.
Oh my God.
During these podcasts.
I'm not a prude. I'm not a
I mean,
prude.
I see how big that glass of wine is you're drinking. You need to have an extra one of those before the show starts, and then come.
Yeah.
And the grown ass adults playing the drinking game. I think it's just a tradition they do, and you know what they say.
Don't fuck with tradition.
Exactly.
Right.
All right.
The whole cunt thing, though, too. The McMurrays.
Okay, we just came off an episode where dick was said way more often than cunt was said in this episode. So don't be sexist here.
To be fair.
To be fair.
There was the whole dick premise was for laughs. It was funny. It was hilarious. There was innuendos. It was smart.
Yeah.
There was nothing funny about a single time the word cunt was used.
I disagree. There were a few, and I'll bring them up when it's my turn. Did you have any other points?
Anyways, love Glenn, love Gail, love Bonnie, and there you go. Move on.
All right. Yeah. So I wasn't a fan of this episode either. So the cold open left me very ice cold. Ron, the only part I liked about Ron, I hated that they revisited the whole cultural, like I took down the whatever, like that was boring the last episode, and it was just tedious this episode. I do like the fact that the four of them are hanging out and they're like buds now. Like, I think that's really great. And maybe because I know what's coming up, they're a lot of fun, but not right now. So that's kind of tedious. The whole drinking game, it is what it is. I didn't mind that too much. I like the whole storyline of Derry and being all needy around a Nick. I don't know if you guys noticed. I mean, I know many people on the internet noticed, but the Riley and Jonesy's pill bottle. I don't know about you, but like when I get a prescription, I don't normally have somebody else's name with mine on the same prescription on their.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
So the pill bottle says Riley and Jonesy.
Does it?
Yeah. For antibiotics. So that's pretty hilarious. It just goes
really good.
to the whole joke of that they're really just truly one person. So yeah, cunt is one of those words, and but I did find it funny, especially in the kitchen at the beginning when Wayne and Derry are imitating McMurray. Every time they use the word, both Marie Fred and Katie kind of do a little startle every time he says cunt. They kind of jump back. It's just hilarious their reaction to that, and the shame on Squirrely Dan's face as he's listening to this happening, and also on Derry and Wayne's faces, especially afterwards when they're done and they get hit and they take it because they know they deserved it. It's just, I mean, that part there was, to me, was actually very funny. But the rest of the episode left me very not. Yeah, it was just, yeah. Anyway, we'll get to ratings in a second. Victor.
Yeah, I mean, just really the same kind of reaction. The cold open wasn't really funny. The imitating McMurray would have been fun if it wasn't so crude. Like like it is. It's fine. It's fine. I wasn't like offended by it or anything. I just didn't find it funny. That's all. Mm-hmm. Then kind of the Ron and Dax thing, like totally. Like I was kind of a little disappointed that they went back to that. To that trope of going around the world, but then it's fun that they're hanging out together, and you're not allowed to enjoy that based on future information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. No, I hear you.
but yeah, I didn't find any of that interaction really funny. It was a little disturbing that they lived their entire life with STDs, and they're okay and comfortable with that, not uncomfortable. And so that was a bit of a throwaway for me. The drinking game, it's funny, until we started even talking about it, I didn't even think anything of it. I wasn't like, how can they be, playing this drinking game? for me, that was almost kind of in the background. It was more about what's happening. And I guess my biggest issue with the episode is that the whole time that Katie was getting angry sitting at the bar, and all that crudeness that was happening, there wasn't any payoff. There wasn't any kind of comeuppance. There wasn't like a retribution of any sort. It was just kind of, brushed away under the carpet. Oh, that's just McMurray. It's almost like it's making it okay to act like a douchebag just because you're drunk. And again, it reminds me back to one of the episodes that I also did not. I don't think I was a big fan of, is when the Hicks got all wasted and started acting stupid. I just, it's funny when you're young, and it's funny when there's that one guy at the party that's acting like a douche, and you hope you're not that guy. But
if you can't find the guy, you're probably the guy.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I can't. Yeah, there you go. I can't relate. I didn't find it funny. There was no payoff at the end. And maybe in future episodes, the whole thing at the very, I feel like you can't save an episode based on 2 seconds of whatever might happen at the very end. Sorry, that's too late. Yeah. So I just, at no point was I ever laughing or really enjoying myself watching this episode. And dare I say that this might be the most, kind of the lowest episode of this entire series so far for me.
And I think it's worthy to note that your background is you've brought back the train wreck. So I just want to make sure that our listeners are aware. Dennis, I mean, you asked to be on this one. I don't know if it was a schedule thing or whatever. But I'm interested because I mean, it's more. No, well, change our minds, but it's also more fun if we don't all agree. So tell us, what did you think of this episode?
Well, sometimes reviewing an episode isn't because you love it.
Sure.
Sometimes, it's like, maybe there's something to be said for this. And, and for nothing else, I wanted to hear what you guys had to say too. Because, there were elements of the episode that really did call out to me, like the fuck you dairy part, that reminded me of you guys so much. It's just like, instantly what I thought.
I love it.
But unfortunately, it's usually Al that catches the brunt of that.
I guess I'm the dairy of the group, not the Wayne. I want to be the Wayne, but I feel like I'm the dairy. Like you guys said, I found myself trying to find something that interested me in the episode, because the first time I watched it through, this was compost, and I'm just like, what is in this episode that I can really glom onto? So I've watched it like 3 or 4 times, just trying to see what those bits and pieces are that kind of call out to me. Right.
But there are elements of the story that you can see are a good premise, but don't necessarily pay off as well as they should have. Like the lyrics thing, it makes sense, but they could have taken it more seriously. A dude showing insecurity and neediness is not attractive to women. Sorry, bros. But I think that's the lesson they're trying to show you too. But then, I don't know, the whole cunts, tasties, tits and slits kind of, McMurray stuff. I don't know how much of that paid off. It'd be like, everybody already knows he's a piece of shit. So how is this a surprise? But it's like Dax, Ron, Riley Jonesy, they kind of got wasted. I mean, it was cool that they were all thrown together, and you can see that there's promise for storylines there, but the execution just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the subject matter. It really doesn't speak to me. I can't, I don't have a personal connection to having multiple STDs. Didn't really speak to me. But, there are those character moments like Dan, when they're all, doing the McMurray talk, he looks at the apples and, he's just like, oh, like there's the ground, how he diffuses those situations. But it was good to see Glenn, him doing the name change kind of thing, like the Kathy Deneuve and, this kind of stuff. I always like that part because I've seen it in previous episodes and there are forthcoming ones, but that's a good character trait of Glenn's that I usually like in the episodes. And I think this might have been the first time where they went Bonnie and McMurray. And I was actually like, holy shit. in previous episodes, you can see her like this, unobtainable sex pot and blah, blah, blah. And I just, like Wayne says, let the paint dry on that one.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it, but this episode, I'm like, God damn.
Well, the paint's drying. All right.
I guess. But McMurray saying the sit down pissers, oh boy.
Yeah.
That set me off.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some classic Letterkenny lines in this one for sure, and moments, but they're fewer and far between, I think.
In the drinking scene, it's usually, and you'll see this in a number of the episodes, there's some hip soundtrack in the background. There's a montage of them smiling and, like interacting with one another. And you're like, yeah, I'm with my friends. You know what I mean? But with this episode, it was just grating.
Yeah.
Like when they're all drinking and stuff like that, I just did not get that feeling. I'm like, where's this going?
Yeah.
Like, what is the next story beat that's going to result from this? And they set this up like as an impossible premise where they're drinking 100 shots of beer. And like, I'm not even a drinker, but that didn't really sound to me. But I'm a bigger dude from a long line of drinkers, so it doesn't intimidate me the way it would most people. But what came of that? Nobody puked, pissed, passed out, none of that. And you'd think it would be like an elimination based thing, but they just did it. They survived it, and then they're all drinking afterward.
It was the point? It was pretty anticlimactic.
Like I said, it's 8 and a bit beers. So if you can regularly drink that, then you're good.
And what really stole the scene for me, especially during the drinking part, was Danny Ellis's Puppers graphics in the background.
Oh, I didn't
really caught my eye. I was like, wow, there's some really good graphic design there.
Right, the posters on the wall.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was like, there was one on the right. I was like, I want that for my wall.
All right, shout out to Danny. Thank you for that one. Yes.
I don't know. I mean, just it was there.
All right, let's move on to ratings then. Matt, what do you give this episode?
So I want to say, it's not a fresh. It's not a fresh. I'll get to the point.
Shocking.
It's a clearance. It's in the middle.
Oh, wow.
But let me explain why. So yeah, it didn't. To be the fresh, I have to laugh my ass off. I have to really connect with it. But I think there's also some brilliance in here because what I've learned about Letterkenny, if nothing else, even when they sort of go off the trail, I mean, there's some that completely go off the rails. There's a lot of intentional work they do. So if you look at the title of this episode, Different Strokes for Different Folks, they stayed true to that, in my opinion, on how far they went off the rails. Like they really kind of dipped into the sewers of Letterkenny in this one, like the over the top STD stuff, the overusage of the word cunt, which, most people don't use that unless you're Australian, don't use that in your day-to-day dialogue because it just feels off limits, right?
Yeah.
They really dipped into those dark ways of going about things, the piss sitters and all they just made them all look like dipshits and pieces of garbage, and they kept that tone through the whole episode, and almost to the point that they were purposely trying to make you dislike it. Maybe I'm way off, but it's like it almost felt intentional in a bit. It didn't make me love the episode, but a lot of the show, they dip into different topics and they really just oversell it and becomes a caricature of itself. And I feel like a bit of it that they were trying to achieve that and make you not necessarily love the episode by really making you feel uncomfortable about it. And if that was the goal, I feel like they achieved it. So, I mean, there was some like the Derry. I think Derry does a great McMurray impression. That makes me laugh. That I think he really nails it. That makes me laugh. The welcome back, Gail. Haven't seen you in a while. We love you. It was so great to see her. Her gem apple, all fucking yours line made me just I died. So there was some really good lines there. Again, didn't love it, but I think there was something they were trying to do and almost make us hate it. And that's just my opinion. And by that, I'm going to keep them in the clearance because I still think they achieved what maybe they were trying to go for.
Okay. Forever the optimist here. Tanya.
I love everyone's points. And I agree with the majority. Needy dairy. No girl's going to want that. I thought that was a good part of the show. And him feeling like he needs to constantly connect with her and see if she's okay. Poor thing. I love Marie Fred's reaction to the whole scene at the table. And coming back and hitting Wayne on the arm and him like, yeah, I deserve that. I didn't understand why the arm cocking happened. I understood it with her going into the gym, but I didn't understand why Wayne did it, her arriving to the table.
I think it's just his kind of pet name for her now. Like, it's not even a name. It's not a verbal thing, but it's just whenever he sees her, he just wants to cock her arm. Probably do more to her, but
All right. Yeah, I didn't love the whole Riley and Jonesy and Ron and Dax the first time they did it. I certainly didn't like it this time. Glenn, loved him. There just wasn't enough to love about the show, about those parts, to take away from the parts that I really didn't like. Like the few things I did like were so small compared to all the rest of it. And not to say that I didn't like the message. I think the takeaway with the whole different strokes for different folks, and that's the way the McMurray's relationship work. And just like Katie looked at them out on the dance floor and they are in love with each other and that works for them. That works for them. No one's to say otherwise. I didn't get offended by that. I just didn't love it. I'm going to give it a compost.
Oh, okay. All right. Listening to you guys talk about this, there's a few, here are the positives. Tanya, you nailed it on the head. Like the message and the lesson learned in this one here is not to judge other people's lifestyle. I think they've been really good at building stories around these lessons and kind of morals and stuff like that they're trying to espouse. I think in this case, this episode is rough and off-putting, but I think the message is there. I think it's there. It's like, look, don't judge other people. Like, and it's funny that it's Katie judging other people, considering
not a prude.
Exactly. She's no prude. She believes in polygamy and or polyamory. I don't know. Yeah. Polygamy is if she's married. So polyamory, she believes in, she's had some kind of relations with Mrs. McMurray in the bathroom. I mean, so she's not a prude, but she was judging them for this, and Squirrely Dan's saying, "Don't judge," different strokes. And at the end, that's the main lesson there. Relationship Wayne is always fun. And what I think as bad as this episode seems to be, like everyone seems to agree this is not a great episode. There is a lot of story development in this episode. You can see Wayne is falling in love with Marie Fred. I think at least 3 times throughout that episode. Yep, she's a keeper, and he's looking at her with admiration and love. Like, and that look at the end, that's not him. That's not teenage Wayne going, "Oh, I've got a boner." That's him realizing something there. I don't know, what it is, but he's falling in love with Marie Fred. So I think there's a lot of story development there, and the needy dairy, there's a lot of story development there. I think there's a lot of development there on that relationship. You look at him and a Nick, and if you saw that in real life, you'd be like, "Oh, what the hell?"
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Good for you, but what the hell, right? Or
one of these things is not like the other.
So there's a lot of story development in this show, in this episode, but the jokes fall flat. And actually, I'm giving this one a compost. And I would even say, I like Fart Book better. Like, this one here was, I know.
Shit.
So,
So we're recasting the host, dude.
Matt just stepped back there.
Victor, what is your rating?
So first, a couple of comments about your review. I'm not sure that you need to watch this episode for a PSA on morals and values. because the episode kind of shoots itself in the foot. So I think.
It does nothing for the anti-STD movement, but.
So I mean, even different strokes, different folks. I just feel like McMurray is such a shit that that message almost gets lost. You know what I mean? Like it becomes not even about the lifestyle. It becomes about you're such a dirty man. Just the way it's not about the act. It's about how you describe the act, right? It's like have some sense. So really the only glimmer of anything that I enjoyed in here is Glenn. To be honest, like he's such a pleasure. Like I love that guy. I can't wait for him to always show up in any episode. He's like an elf, but the way I'll describe kind of my rating is I'll use another sports analogy. I think last time I used baseball. Matt wasn't crazy about it.
Yeah, so you went a long way for that.
It was a train wreck.
So we'll try something different. So about a week ago, and for our friends, across the border, maybe they can't completely relate, but we'll do our best. So about a week ago, in Toronto, we were up 3-1 on the Montreal Canadiens. Everybody was blissful, feeling really great, on top of the world. Nothing's wrong with anything. This is great. And about at the same time, we reviewed the previous episode where we were on top of the world. And I think at that point said, this is my favorite episode ever. My God. And now a week later, what happens a week later? Well, a week later, the Leafs blow a 3-1 lead. They lose in Game 7. Embarrassing. And I'm left kind of not angry or disappointed. Yeah, it is embarrassing, but not angry or disappointed. Just empty, and that's kind of how I felt after watching this episode. So the parallels are interesting, and for that reason alone, I have to give it a very, 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 very deep compost.
Okay, Dennis.
Oh boy. Not the way I saw this one going.
Right?
I could definitely see. And like I said, it was there. It was a compost for me for first couple of viewings. And I had to struggle to find something, a redeeming value, because like you guys said, it's about premise and payoff. The premises are all there, and there are building episodes. There are plenty where you can see them setting something up. It doesn't really exist in the episode itself, but the groundwork's being laid, right? Seeds are being sown. But this one, it was just like, all right, cool. I want to see where this goes. And then it went nowhere. So it was tough. But Daryl's impression of McMurray saved the episode. And seeing Gail and Glenn is always a welcome repose if the rest of the episode is a train wreck. So they really were a life preserver on this one. So what would have been a compost is a pretty weak clearance for me.
Oh, all right. Well then,
at least I'm not alone on that boat.
No, yeah. So let's
sinking boat.
I mean, I think the next segment's going to go by really, really fast here. Top fives. Does this make anybody's top five?
A hard no.
Yeah. Matt, Tanya, me, no. Victor, I don't think so.
My number one worst.
Yeah. You know what? I don't disagree. I think because I said it's below Fart Book in my book, and Fart Book was my worst, and now this one I think is taking it. Dennis, I think you gave us your top fives last time, so I don't know what you want to talk about. How about you give us your bottom five this time?
Oh boy!
Or is that too much to ask?
That much thought. It's because I'm always trying to find the saving grace.
Yes.
Even the worst.
Sounds like
episodes.
it. Yeah.
But then
Forever an optimist. I love it.
It's good. It's good.
It's sad. I could just hear the defeat in your voices. Like how much this episode has disappointed you.
It was bound to happen. It's I'm surprised it didn't. I think this is getting. Well, no, I don't think. I know this is getting worse reviews than the first season 1, where we weren't all on the same page. So yeah,
and there are entire seasons where people are like, it's not really my thing. but and they're coming. But this one, it's not one of my top 5, believe me. But I think I reviewed season 5, which the Old College Try was my season 5 pick, and I think that's been replaced by a Bakadish.
Yeah.
And season 6 by a long shot is Dick Slip Out so far. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to review the series with a different eye to really identify. Yeah, these are the stinkers of the bunch.
Yeah, that's all. It's all good. I put you on the spot there. I shouldn't have. All right, let's move on to MVPs. Matt, who was your MVP for this episode?
So it was a toss up between Derry because of the McMurray impression, because I loved it, but it went to Gaylor. I'm so happy to see her, and that one line, I died. I've already said it twice. The gem apple, it just, I love her, and I'm so happy to see her, and I have to give her the MVP because she just made me laugh so hard.
All right, Tanya, who is your MVP?
Hands down, it's Glenn. The way he said that he was going to sing hymns to keep Bonnie awake on the drive home. And she's like, no, but it's just his delivery of it. He's just so freaking funny. So funny.
Okay. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with Squirrely Dan on this one. He's so funny drunk. He plays a really funny drunk. And some of it, my favorite parts of this episode, which were few and far between, were at the table, and at the beginning of the episode, where Wayne and Derry are telling the story, and Squirty Dan's like head down, eyes closed, and then telling Katie it's none of her business, and she snaps at him and says, "Oh, look, there's an apple," and eating it, and then at the end, him delivering the Jiminy Cricket line, different strokes. I mean. It overall, the episode was the laughs were few and far between, and he kind of delivered most of them for me. So I'm going to give it to Squirrely Dan. Victor.
Or are we ready for this?
We're going to guess?
Well, no, yeah. So have we all written down what we think Victor, who or what we think Victor is giving him? So don't say anything. Now we're going to let him give it now. Who or what is your MVP there, Victor?
Okay, well, unlike my previous episodes, I'm going to go a little off the page for this one.
What do you mean, unlike?
Off the page
doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
You know that, right? Have you been listening at all?
You've been nowhere near the page in the last couple of episodes. There's no fucking book in sight.
You can't choose someone from a different episode now. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
No.
And so help me. If you choose the word cunt as your MVP.
No. I'm not going to do anything stupid like that. So I'm not doing this to be difficult or different.
Oh, he's starting off that way.
Once again, I'm not racist.
Every bad answer with that.
I'm not sexist.
Yeah, this is genuine, and it's truly how I felt. So I feel the MVP is really any viewer that was able to make it the entire episode.
Oh my God.
No.
And the reason I say this is the reason I say this. Just stay with me here. Is we have to watch it, but if we didn't have to watch it, I'm not sure. I am not sure that I would have made it through the end of the episode. And therefore,
I don't even know how to write this down. So
I'm tired of this game.
I'm tired of it. Bad game. No.
So your MVP is anyone who was able to finish it. All right.
Yes.
Something like
Viewers who endured.
That's
viewers
good.
who endured. Yes. Thank you.
Oh boy. All right. So, Matt, who did you think?
Not that.
No.
Just go on. Not that.
You don't want to even give.
Nobody thought that.
No, I know. But like, what was your guess? Like, this is
I thought for once, I thought he was bored enough with the episode. He hated it enough that his only saving grace was Glenn. So I assumed it was going to be Glenn.
Okay. Tanya, who did you think?
I say game over. Victor's not allowed to play anymore.
Really?
I'm kicking Victor off the.
Yeah,
the
we
game.
need a new game. This game's not fun.
Well, you made up this game. This is your game.
The people that went through the game over.
It was fun for week
Game
one.
over.
Now
No,
it's
too
like
far.
All right.
Too far. Anyways, I had also put down Glenn for Victor because I thought he even commented that was the only time he laughed was Glenn.
Yes.
And so therefore,
if we had more Glenn, then he would have made it to the top. But I feel,
and his actual rating is Glenn, not anyone who watched the whole thing.
Dennis, who did? Don't give us yours yet. Who did you have for Victor?
Victor, I thought, like as the episode went on, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's STDs because, because, surviving this episode is kind of like having gonorrhea.
All right, I can see that.
I love
awesome.
it.
So, who is your MVP for the episode?
By far, well, like you said, there were some contenders. Squirrely Dan being the conscious of the episode without proselytizing. There's something to be said for that. Seeing Glenn and Gail helped make the episode not so unbearable, but Daryl's McMurray completely made that episode for me.
Yeah, so good.
All right, there you. So how about this? How about we don't scrap the game, but we give Victor some guidelines and rules that he has to abide by. Like, let's say the MVP.
Here's the box.
Has to be,
and you have to be in the box.
Has to be a human in the episode, or do we want to give him a little more leeway than that?
I mean, that's what might make it more interesting for the listeners, though, too, where, Victor's MVP is the goldfish or, something like that.
So maybe the living object featured in the episode. Right. I don't know.
It has to be.
This was a living object.
It has to be seen.
It wasn't in the episode.
It has to be in the show.
Yeah.
It has to be seen in the show. That should be the rule.
We'll take this away and workshop it and come back next week with.
Oh my! I can feel people shaking their heads.
Yeah, a poll. That's a good idea.
I can just see the.
You know what? That's it. That's a Dennis poll. Do we continue with the Victor's MVP game?
Too far, man. Too far.
The listeners have a say here. All right. Let's see.
Then we'll know who's actually listening.
Yeah, exactly.
So say, what? Who's Victor?
We didn't have any Tanya's Twitter polls for last week. We move on to listener comments. We got this is a podcast or an iTunes review. 5 stars, 4 friends hanging out, drinking beers, and breaking down each episode of one of the funniest shows out there. Pitter Patter. That's from Pim McCarthy 63 on Apple Podcasts. Thank you very much, Pim, for that. And thank you for listening. That we appreciate that. And I got this one DM from Miguel Rodriguez saying, absolutely love the podcast. Been listening since the trailer of the first episode. Great show. Great podcast. Thank you for hours of entertainment. 3 thumbs up, not just 2, 3 thumbs up. Miguel, thank you so much.
3 knuckles up.
Yeah.
3 knuckler.
And then we just have some news here. We've surpassed last week. We passed 20,000 downloads. So huzzah. In 10 months, we got 20,000 downloads. That's 55 episodes in 23 countries, 1,070 Twitter followers, and 812 likes on Facebook. That's amazing. Like couldn't have pictured this when we started this little venture, last July. So thank you for everyone for listening.
Ooh, what should we do for our 1 year? July was our first
July
episode?
13. Yeah. We should.
it then?
We should maybe plan something special for that.
We should.
100 shots.
100 shots. I'm in.
All right, I'll be in.
Find a babysitter.
Oh, we're gonna need a babysitter then if we're gonna do that.
Dear.
Awesome. Let's go with some final thoughts. Matt, you're up.
I'll lead with. I think you guys got it wrong this episode. I'm not fighting, obviously, for a fresh, but I think I captured the essence. I think this was the Smash Room episode where they really just had a tantrum and threw out all the nastiness that they could at you and intentionally wanting you to dislike it to a degree. That's my opinion. And I think they got it. I think they nailed it. They wanted you to be kind of disgusted by it a little bit. And I think they were successful.
That's like tripping your friend who smashes his head into the window and saying, no, it's okay. I meant to do it.
Yeah. If you meant to do it, it's funny. I don't understand. What's the point here? You don't know pranking very well, do
Matt,
you?
you're such an optimist, and I'm usually with you on these things, you know.
I know. I thought I was trying to sway at least one of you, and I think I didn't sway Dennis. I think he already had his opinion, but I thought I might get one more of you. But either way, it was fun. Dennis, always a pleasure, my friend. We love having you. Can't wait to have you back again. So hopefully get a more positive attitude, because these guys are just all over the maps this time. But we'll get you back for a fun episode, and always a pleasure, my friend.
Tanya?
Yeah, Matt, you almost had me. I was teeter-tottering between compost and clearance. But yeah, I couldn't bring myself to get to that next level. Dennis, thank you so much. And my question to Dennis is going to be, if you've ever done anything with sharks. I'm like, okay, what would be so far out there? I'm like, sharks would be out there. I'm like, punch a shark in the nose or something, like wrestled a shark. I don't know, something to do with sharks.
You were a bodyguard.
I wrestled a bear once.
What?
I wrestled a bear.
Of course you did. Why wouldn't you have wrestled a bear?
Okay, you guys can't see, but Alan's like, oh my, and he just like pen to paper and he's writing it down.
Okay.
Next question to Dennis.
Oh my God.
There are some things in this world where people are like, oh, I'm so scared of, fill in the blank. I'm so scared of sharks. Like, I'm not afraid of sharks because I don't spend a lot of time in the ocean. So, I'm in Michigan.
No sharks in Michigan, really?
But, there are things, dangerous situations that I'll put myself in, but it's with the caveat of knowing that I can trust myself to be malleable enough to, do what I need to in that situation.
I just so have to ask now, what's the most dangerous situation you've been in?
Oh, I've had guns pulled on me and, in life-threatening situations, but seem to be doing all right.
Well, you're speaking to us, so yes, I guess you are. Wow,
you're fascinating.
Yes, never a dull moment.
After Letterkenny,
you need your own.
It's just going to be like a show.
We're going to do a podcast just with you, and we're just going to talk about you all the time.
We're going to pull things from the hat.
I'm not accustomed to speaking about myself.
We're going to pull questions out of a hat.
The layers of DG.
Yeah, tell me about it. All right, I echo everyone's sentiments. Obviously, I love it when you're on, and can't wait to have you back on again. And you're an onion. You've got layers. Next time you're on, we're going to talk about your rodeo clowning career. And now we're going to talk about fucking bear wrestling, because
bar wrestling.
What the hell? Thank you.
I can just see a bar out somewhere in the Hicks. There's a bear. There's Dennis. Go.
Right next to the mechanical bull.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dennis, and looking forward to having you back. You did a great job tonight, by the way. And I hopefully people who are listening, I know whoever's listening, you're obviously a fan of the show. Take this all with a grain of salt. Obviously, we're comparing Letterkenny episodes to themselves. This one, it is what it is, and they weren't all going to be perfect. So there you go.
It's been a long time since.
Actually, we've been generally positive on for the most part, but this one here, just there's nothing saving it. Victor.
I say let's give this one a mulligan, and give it a chance to redeem itself with the season finale. So
that's right.
That's the great hope. Dennis, I only hope that once you and the bear were done, that you were able to get up and shake on it and have a beer together. And
what was it, a mascot?
And that you're good friends now, just like in Letterkenny universe.
That's right.
All fights end with friendship.
Yeah, you invited it to your super soft birthday afterwards. Yes,
that's right. But yeah, just thanks again. You're just an awesome guest and really a friend now. Honorary cast member. So thanks a lot, and can't wait to have you back and then hear about your rodeo stories and whatever else we'll get to. Just don't show all your cards all at once.
So we can have you back over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Dennis, you're up.
Ditto. It's even if the episode sucks, it's cool to be able to discuss it with you guys. You know what I mean? And I'm used to being a listener, and I'm used to being a talker.
But you do it so well. You do it so well.
But it's nice to have the option, and you guys talking about these episodes too. Where when I review them, I hear your voices in my head as I'm
sorry,
kind of seeing the episode.
Sorry.
I'm like, really, what would they think of this episode?
I'll give you my therapist's number.
That's awesome.
But, to the listeners, it's pretty late in the podcast to mention it, but you can skip this episode. There really isn't, there isn't a lot to hear here. But, I can't imagine somebody standing on a mountaintop, waving the flag of this being their favorite episode. You know what I mean? So I don't think we're talking down to anybody, but, even if something you don't enjoy, you can find something to enjoy about it. So
yeah, the Twitter poll for this one will be interesting. Yeah.
I think we had a blast just talking about it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Even when it sucks, there's something to be said.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of laughs in this one. All right, we're going to play us off with one of the other highlights to this episode. Actually, the music's always a highlight to these episodes. Yeah. The song at the end was a lot of fun, but actually I had to pick the song that they played during the Century Club drinking game. I love it, and I've been listening to it all day. It's Fashionable People by Joel Plaskett Emergency, and it's so much fun. Just let that marinate for a bit. It's so bouncy and poppy, and I highly recommend watching the video for it. It's a lot of fun. It's like from 2007.
I feel foolish.
And that's all we have for this episode. Next week, we recap and review the finale of season 6, You, with our guest, Eric Wright from Diabolical Coffee. So I'm looking forward to having Eric on. Don't forget to give our sponsor, Diabolical Coffee, some love. They're at diabolicalcoffee.com. Right now, you can use a promo code ProduceStand for 10% off any purchase from their site. If you'd like to support our podcast, rate us on iTunes or become a patron. There's a Patreon link on our site or Twitter profile at ProduceStandPod. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at ProduceStandPod. Thank you for joining us. Now we're going to have some shots of beer and talk about cunt. On behalf of Dennis, Matt, Victor, Tanya, and myself, thank you for listening and have a great week.
The swingers gotta swing. Fashionable people doing questionable things. Fashionable, fashionable, fashionable. Fashionable, fashionable.